Cross-exam, we're back. I'm Matt. That's Justice, episode 125. Straight into it. It's our B-list, My Hero, Vinland Saga.
C-list.
C-list. My Hero Academia, Vinland Saga, Trigun Stampede, and To Your Eternity, which made me want to cry again.
And Kubo is delayed till next season, so we'll talk about that.
No, we had to watch 3 episodes.
No.
Yeah, I went and contacted the company, sent me the 3 episodes
they
to
did
air
not.
next season. I was like, oh, Kubo.
So My Hero,
Yeah, it was sad. It was emotional. Dude, All Might had the greatest entrance this
My
week.
Depression Academia.
Well, All Might's like driving.
Mm-hmm.
Like they attack his car, he gets out, kind of like not really an Akira thing, but the car goes flying out. All Might's there, explosion. Nothing's gonna happen to Midoriya while I'm alive, and I'm like, foreshadowing? Question mark? Foreshadowing?
He's got to die, right?
He's got it. I feel like he'll be. It'd be crazy. Deku gives up all for one last time to All Might. Like I imagine, like Deku gets knocked down, he's about to like pass out, and like.
Well, I don't think like
I'm
All
not
Might could have the power. He still has the power.
Well, he has to give it back up because remember it slowly goes away.
I mean, it was
It'll be cool.
going away from him.
Well, the thing is, they do make a point that fight when Bakugo and Deku shared power is canon in the main story. Because some of the movies, it's never canon. They made that all canon. So there is a point where maybe they share the power. Because at the end of My Hero, yeah, I feel like Deku's not going to have his power. I feel that's the only way to get rid of it, is the 2 powers cancel out, then there's nothing left. Which is why I said this is the story of how I became the greatest hero. And he became the greatest hero because he defeated the greatest villain. But God, it's like, this is the final season, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
I thought-
they can't. They were like 2 episodes away from it being all over. Like
For some reason, I thought someone was saying this was the final season.
it felt like they were building towards this being the final season, but
It was because I thought you said it was the final. I was like, oh, this is the final one. How are they gonna?
No, it
Because
feels
I don't
like
even think they have finished the manga yet.
no. The mangaka took a break. His
Yeah.
health got bad.
Dude, you know what's crazy? Hunter x Hunter. Sorry, side note, real quick.
Hunter. The X.
Hunter x
silent.
Hunter.
Yeah.
I can read. I'm English. Crimpets.
I will cut you.
It's a standard ground state. Pelican case. Go. Actually, it's a pretty durable Pelican case.
Yeah, it's
See,
the
didn't see that
cheapest
come-
thing Pelican makes.
It is, but it's still good quality. I need to buy another one for the trip. Sorry, it's side tangent on there. No, dude, I'm so excited. It's like Deku finally defeats Lady Nagant.
Mm.
I mean, the fight was kind of cool. He's trying to figure it out on there.
Yeah.
Very emotional, though, because I said very emotional. Even in Deku's darkest, like, kind of minute, it feels like, he's doing all these fights. This is before he goes real dark with it.
Yeah.
She says, oh, there's still a sparkle in his eyes. And there was a point where they said the sparkle in Hawk's eyes were gone, like, way back when in the season. I remember that. And then she said, there's a sparkle in his eyes, too. It's like, God damn it, Deku. Good job, buddy. Firing people up on there. And then she turns into an IED and blows up.
Yeah.
She's alive still. Like, I don't know if she's alive. It's like sheer fucking will.
Yeah, she starts giving up where she's supposed to be meeting All for One.
Yeah, and it turns out just to be
A trap.
Yeah, another trap on there.
Yeah.
But it's cool seeing them focus on our heroes. Like, the main heroes are now not in, big fancy buildings planning an invasion. They're now in, like, really out there warehouses planning meetings as if, like, they're the resistance. Because there's an anti-hero faction that hates the heroes and they're starting to fight back. But luckily the heroes are still keeping the moral high ground.
Yeah.
And Endeavor doesn't want to share Deku's secrets because people keep quitting and it's leaking.
Yeah.
So I feel like what's going to happen in that final fight between everything is his secret's going to be leaked. Everyone's going to want the power, and that's why I think Deku's going to give it up at the very, very end. Become powerless again. I know it's kind of emotional thing about, like, we've had My Hero for so long because My Hero came out like forever ago.
I mean, it's a minimum of 6 years considering this is the 6th season. July
7th, 2014. So it's almost been 10 years. That's when the first manga came out. So it's been almost 10 years building up to this.
Mm-hmm. And, like, it's good. I think this season has been, I'm I'm not moving it. This season has been
It's been
a
probably one of the
really good build up from the last 2 seasons where everyone's like, "Yo, it's gotta get to something. It's gotta be worth it."
and the build up was worth it.
Yeah, it's definitely been worth it. If you stuck through a bit of a slog of what 4 and 5 were like at parts, because
they still tried to help make it good, but
this one just finally like really puts a lot of the cards on the table that you feel like it hasn't had since season 2, really.
Well, it makes sense. So you had basically, I feel like a season and a half of building up with some fights, but now it's like this season has just been go, 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 go. And I feel like next season will be that way as well. Because we had another build up this week where everyone from UA decided, now we're going to help Deku. We're going to like stop him. Like we need to stop him. You see everyone using their individual powers.
Yeah.
Showing like, because it was a whole build up that you don't really realize of like Deku helped this person realize they're great. And they told them, and then everyone told him like, you made me realize this. You made me realize that. All the way down to like Manita. Yeah. Where you're just like, I really don't care about this character. But at the end of the day, Deku did help him become.
Did this man say that he fell in love with me?
Yeah.
that was the only thing where it's like, no, wait a minute.
No, there'd be anything wrong with that.
There is nothing wrong with that.
I will say, I should have noticed it, but I was too into the moment of like, oh, it's so emotional. They're there for him. Let's go. You know, it's kind of that whole kid thing of like.
Matt definitely cried when like Bakugo was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, no, the cool thing is like Calvin like was walking by. He's like, you okay? Because I'm like watching my room when they're doing that whole slide thing of like Todoroki has the slime girls. Like here's acid to help get past the rain, less resistance. Then Todoroki helps Bakugo go. And I'm like, oh, shoot, let's go. Bakugo's going to catch up to him. And he's like, this is all to prepare. We need the fastest man in our class to help him. And then you see Bakugo separate. It's like, what? And then you see Ida. And I'm like, oh, let's go, baby. And he's like...
Yeah. Also, it gives you an idea just how fast... like Deku's going.
Because Ida's like going like, he's like...
His glasses like shattered due to the force.
In my head, I was like, oh, I hope they didn't get in his eye or anything. But it was like cool. Then he grabs onto him. It's like... We caught up to you. It's like, oh, let's go. I'm crying. You're crying. Everyone's crying. It's so emotional.
He's doing it right now. I can see it.
I love it, dude. I love shows that are super emotional. They get you hyped. Like, I was hyped that entire episode. I'm like, oh, Deku's being me back. Then like Bakugo shows up. And I thought he was going to shoot everyone with his blast. And everyone's there for him. Like at the end of the day, like the whole story's kind of coming to a wrap before like this huge overarching story coming to a wrap before we get that last little bubble of like, this is it. This is the end.
Yeah. It does a good job of seeing just kind of how hopeless Deku's been, especially there near the end. Because, like, one of the things that they've been doing is, he looks ragged. Like, his outfit has gotten like worse and worse, and he's looking more like a monster. Like even when he's helping people, the people that he's helping are afraid of him.
Yeah.
And
well, you see him like, slowly caving into
all for one.
Yeah,
like next it's you, essentially. Like,
well, yeah. I mean, even all for one, there's times where he's like, "Oh, young Deku, I want to tell you to like, you can rest." And Deku just feels like he has to take all of it.
Oh, I'm fine. Like,
yeah.
That thing.
But it was that cool
when
thing.
You say you're fine and you're not really fine.
He's going to tell everybody you're okay.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. I think it's like this perfect, like, I think the next 2 episodes are going to be like that relaxation. And then obviously at the end of the season, they'll give the hint for maybe next season. Because I don't know if we're caught up with the manga. I might just end up reading ahead.
We got to be fairly close, but yeah, even just like some of the subtle details of like seeing just how exhausted Deku is, where I don't know if you noticed with like the ability Black Whip, which by the way, you do realize Deku is very smart. Like
after a quick glance, real quick, what's happening right now, I think is catching up with the manga.
So the final season might be 2 years away, realistically.
Yeah, because I was just looking. Apparently, there's nothing planned, and he's still on break. And he said he wants to end it on his terms.
Yeah. The manga, I believe, starts back up next week.
Maybe that's
based on what they said.
okay. Yeah. So
they
were 20 seasons later.
Yeah.
One Piece. There we go. Yeah.
Sorry. But like with Black Whip, I don't know if you had noticed while he's walking.
He's actually white.
There, shut up. There near like the end, he's actually using that ability to keep himself upright and just to like certain details like that. I appreciate a lot.
Well, they finally introduced like the last couple heroes and what their abilities are. So I mean, it's cool because this last episode we watched, because there's technically one more episode out that we didn't watch yet because we're recording this late, unfortunately. You get to see everyone like kind of at the not the peak of their abilities, but how well they work together. Because even Deku says like, "You can't keep up with me, just leave me alone," and it shows that everyone together can. So you have these like kids that are performing on the levels of like pro heroes. And you even get that moment, I think we also kind of ended, Deku shows up to UA. They have this super fortress that, I don't know if they foreshadowed it long ago.
Well, so the principal was like, yeah, we installed this during the like last thing, but...
The school festival.
For the full school festival. We just didn't need to use all the bells and whistles. And it's like, you guys had that shit hidden somewhere? What the fuck?
So, but then you see, you know, his friends like Ochako.
Yeah.
Yukararu. I'm forgetting how to pronounce her name. Whatever. I'm tired. Leave me alone. She's still there to like keep him safe. And in the preview, see some things, but
she wants to laugh. Give him a little bit of safety.
Settle down now. She wants to protect. But you see everyone's like, the cool thing too is everyone's kind of flashback of like them wanting to be, especially her. Yeah. Her wanting to be a hero and like people realizing there still are heroes. So maybe this is the big turning point of we're against a lot of these heroes too. Maybe we'll click back over. Because you're seeing more and more people like starting to switch, starting to realize, well, the heroes are here. Also, the biggest thing, you get to see 13's face for the first time.
Yeah.
She's a baberoni.
At first, I was like, wait, that's the one with the, like, sucky finger things. And I was like, wait, she has a face? I thought the outfit was just her.
Yeah, I wonder if that's her ability. She can use it at the time. But it was like, it's really cool.
Yeah.
I think I kind of like her character design. Every character is just so cool and I think pretty unique. But
Matt's over there just being like, what are you hiding under the spacesuit, lady?
Yo, what that spacesuit do?
I'm sure the like Dojin artists are gonna go wild.
She looks like a giant washing machine still.
No.
She looks like, sorry, the Michelin tire.
Yeah. I would say that is a different hero.
Which is also like just a dishwasher that shoots bubbles out of his hand. It's like, what? So I mean, it was all in all, I think we'll go to the school. My guess is how the season might end, or the series might end, depending if he ends it next season or not. He might just keep going. I feel like it's got to end, though.
Yeah, it's too close.
The only way they could do it is if they do this next season to defeat Shigaraki. Shigaraki joins him, then they have to do one more season to fight All For One, but it feels like the story is coming to its total end. Yeah. Which feels rather quick, but you think like we've been watching this for 7 years.
And the manga's been out for almost 10.
Yeah, so, but it just feels too quick. Because stuff's moving too quick on there. But you know what also has been out for a little bit? Vinland Saga, right?
Yeah, Vinland Saga Season 2.
Season 2. Are we still on the farm?
Yeah, we are still on the farm. Don't worry. Honestly, there's not a lot that's happened in these 3 episodes.
Run me through frame by frame. Frame 1. Frame 2.
Nightmare.
Is he still having nightmares?
Yes. Because basically, like...
Because you said last time he was having nightmares about his family? Or what was it about?
He has nightmares about all sorts of things. Because he's basically a child soldier. Like, his father was killed in front of him.
Be a man.
And he grew up, like, basically murdering random people. And he's very good at it, mind you.
Sounds like he grew up in Detroit.
No. But he's, like... starting to come to grips with the fact that he doesn't really have anything in his life, and everything that he had been doing up till that point, like, was to try to murder Askeladd, and
that's the big dude from season 1, right? That he cut off his fingers.
No, not the big dude. Askeladd is the
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Equally blonde, but the one that ran everything. He murdered the king. I don't know if you ever got that far.
No, I know. Wasn't that? I thought that was the same guy.
No.
Oh, sorry. I'll look it up. You continue your story.
Yeah, but he was murdered.
Oh, they just look very similar.
Yes. Fucking Norseman. Well, Askeladd's actually Welsh.
I was like, pretty sure.
But he's
It's racist.
because Askeladd was murdered. Like Thorfinn has nothing. His entire existence was for that single thing, and it happened in front of his eyes, and it wasn't his own doing, and his entire existence, it means nothing. And then he became a slave. Like, it's not like fake slave. He's just a slave, which...
We can work for his freedom.
Yes, and they are very close. They're actually where we
So in
ended
2 episodes, they got real...
these 3... there was a 3-year time
Okay, I was
jump.
going to say, I thought you said it took years to get your freedom.
Yeah, there was a 3-year time
So
skip.
let me get this straight. So we go from season 1 to season 2. We had a big time jump, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then we go again. We have another big time jump.
Yes, which
Sounds
honestly,
like some lazy writing to me.
dude, you tell that to considering this is one of the greatest stories ever told. I mean, legitimately, manga wise,
Romeo and Juliet would like the word with you.
yeah, they are just a pedophile and wanting to screw a
They're
child.
the same age.
No, they're not.
Oh, no. You keep
Shows what you know, idiot. So there ends up being a 3-year time jump. They're almost free, and literally an entire episode wasn't completely focused on Thorfinn, basically inside his own head, talking to Askeladd at the end, basically stuck in hell. I know you're trying to be smug about something, but whatever it is, if you're actually looking at the accurate version of Shakespeare or the whatever current play version,
Shakespeare, they're the same age.
they are not. They are.
Sorry, continue.
They he's hanging from kind of a cliff essentially, and below him is just thousands of warriors, mostly decaying, fighting, and just killing each other, and none of them are actually dying because they're already dead, and coming into that moral quandary of this is where I belong, but I don't want to be here, that kind of stuff. And that was an entire episode.
Maybe you should get a job, that bum.
We do cut back to Canute, who is now the king and took over all of England. And
was it Canute from episode 2 when they showed up?
He's really early on. He's the long-haired blonde prince that acts like an absolute little bitch. Yeah, man's savage now. He's when we saw him, he now
So is that Griffith kind of change?
Huh?
You never watched Berserk, did you?
No.
Oh, never mind then.
He is now the king of all of Great Britain, and is just taken over power of Denmark because his brother, who had that power, he poisons him, and you learn that in that episode. And they were on good terms too. He just didn't want the clash to eventually happen, so he poisoned his brother to take over everything because his brother didn't have any heirs. So he was going to take over both and be the king for everything. That's legitimately kind of how it is.
Oh. So is that
there is a little bit of a foreshadowy thing where the dude that runs the farm is like, hey, when I come back from visiting the king, because they're in Denmark, so he's going to visit the dying king. He's like, you guys will be free. You'll have your freedom. And it's like, no, don't do that. That means you're going to die and they're not going to get their freedom and everything's going to be fucked up. So it's one of those foreshadowing where you're like, I don't like where this is going.
It's just a piece of paper. Freedom. You watch
only.
Braveheart, the freedom.
Yeah. But that's kind of where it is. We'll assume eventually Thorfinn is going to run into a problem of morality where he wants to just be a kind person that never harms anyone ever again, and he's not going to have that option.
I have a nickname for Thorfinn.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The humanoid stampede.
Okay.
Speaking of humanoid stampede, Vash, Trigun Stampede. Listen, all I gotta say is I watched enough of this show. We're 10 episodes in. We got 2 more episodes. The show was good. It doesn't matter if you watched the original and you hated it. Trigun Stampede is good again. Like, not good again. I think it's always been good. I think the story's been paced good on there. Big things happened this week, Justice.
Yeah.
If you want to partake on there. Someone text you?
No.
Oh. So, last time we left you off, where a whole bunch of people are dead, as per usual on there. They have these, like, plant things. They give life, and they're actually, like, alien species that, like, fold up into a plant thing. Whatever. You find out way more information about this. The reason why Vash can communicate with them is...
He's an alien. They probed his butt.
Yes. Kind of. Not. I mean, that was behind the scenes, maybe. But Vash... So these plants can give life to other plants that make power. It's like basically unlimited power on there. And you find out...
He's a Sith.
He's a synth.
Synth?
Yeah.
You said Sith.
No, I know, but I was thinking synth. You ever played Fallout, did you?
No.
Oh, that's a joke. I mean, actually, kind of technically. Besides all that, so the plants will usually give birth to other plants, and how they work is usually these plants will like use up all their power in one big kind of bang thing, and that's kind of well, that's kind of how they would work. Like they have these powers, and in the old like way back when they power them, it's like one big explosion. It's like not a nuclear explosion, but kind of think of that way. Where there's one big explosion that's all the energy it's ever going to have in one go. Well, the caretakers and humans have learned, like, we can slowly take power from them and maintain them at a good level. So if you treat it right, you don't take too much power at one time, they'll last for years and years and years. Like, we're talking like 150 years these plants will last. Well, it's like these cities have been kind of abusing them. They'll go from blue to red, which shows that they're kind of dying and they're about to use the last of their... Well, what happened was Vash and his twin brother were born from one of these plants, and they're like a humanoid plant. And you find out, like, their caretaker, her name's not on here, I think it was Rem. She took care of them as kids and kind of hid that fact away. And then they ended up on another ship. Knives ran away, and Vash ended up getting taken on this other ship. And you kind of get this mother-father thing where this other ship kind of takes care of Vash, and until eventually they were like, you know what? He's not so bad. We'll give him a chance. And then they found out about his brother, and then Vash kind of runs away. There was a whole kind of back and forth thing.
Yeah.
And you learn Vash lost his arm because one of his special abilities, like in the original series, activated where like he basically has like a black hole in his arm that just sucks up basically all that energy or whatnot. And then Knives cut off his arm. That's why Vash is missing his arm. Compared to the original series, he always kept it wrapped, and then he would do like a huge like nuke shot out of his arm. So it's kind of a cool difference between the two. But besides that, big things happen this week. We're getting to the end of this series because I think it's only 12 episodes. I think is what it's supposed to be. Yeah, 12. So with 2 episodes left, we're getting to the climax of it. People are starting to die.
Is it, in that 12 episodes, is it going to be a complete story?
I think so.
Like no season 2 or anything?
The way they've paced it and where it's at now, I don't think there is. I haven't looked into it. I want to say there
feels like it's been a while since there's been a show that kind of bows perfectly for like one season. Yeah,
because the original Trigun, 3 volumes, 22 chapters. So it really wasn't that long. I'm trying to look up, and there were sequels to it. I'm trying to figure out what the original Trigun was. Let's see real quick. Original. I mean, if you want to look it up, I'm going to keep talking about it on there. But Roberto De Niro dies this week. His name's Robert De Niro. It was kind of sad because it just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because another one of these made humans, like these specialized humans that were created by the doctor in the show, made this one girl that they're trying to recreate what Vash and Knives are. By making a human out of the plants, but none of them are nearly as strong enough. Like, this doctor's tried dozens of times, and it's only made one, but he's only like, this one's like a 20th of the power of Vash. So she can have like these nails that she makes that a thinner.
Original Trigun was 26 episodes.
Yeah, I remember it being quite long. But to be fair, the original Trigun had a lot of like mini fights, and I don't think we ever got to the real story to like the last half. And I think this is like one big encompassing like.
Here it is.
Because in the first 2 episodes, they basically did everything the original Trigun did. That took like 6 episodes, I think. So they weren't speeding through, but they kind of got you familiar. Besides that, Mr. De Niro gets hit, Roberto, gets hit with one of the nails. You don't realize that till you're in the elevator and he's trying to keep Meryl safe. And you realize earlier in the episode she was probably going to die because they met Vash's like new kind of parents that took care of him. And they're like, hey, our goal is to find all these plants, regreen the earth so it's livable because it's basically just a giant wasteland of just sand. And Robert at one point says her name, Meryl. He was used to always just call her assistant. You know, it's like a death thing. I just kind of skipped over my mind because she's like, oh, you called me by my name. He's like, no, I didn't. I'm like, no, it's kind of a cutesy thing. Then later in the episode, he protects her. He dies, gives up his gun, and then you get this thing where Meryl is now this like innocent girl turned kind of strong. Like she kind of has her character arc of like getting strong.
Turns bad.
Doesn't really turn bad, but she gets the courage instead of running away to do something about it rather than just report on the story. What?
My mind's messed up. It's like this week on Bang Bros.
Wow. No, but she's getting ready to fight. And then Wolfwood, the cross guy with the machine gun, he's fighting and she's probably going up to try and help him. And Vash and his brother have started fighting. Vash fell into like a pool of water, and Knives, his brother, said, I'll remake you or something. So I don't know what's going to happen this week. Maybe Vash will get his arm back with the ability. I don't want to spoil it because it's like how the original ended. I think this is how this is going to end too. Because I really don't see him doing any more than 2 episodes. It looks like we are at the end. Because I'm looking at the original series, and there's like 3 villains here that you never really run into this season at all. So unless they do another season, it'd have to be wild. Stuff would drastically have to change in order for stuff to happen. We're pretty much at where we would be at. So I think it's good.
Do you think story-wise
I like it. I think it's a really good story.
Do you think that the telling from the original, this is better?
It's hard because you get that nostalgia kind of like buff. I'd have to go back and watch it again.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, I have the Blu-ray sitting around here somewhere and the movie. I'd have to... I think the way the last 5 episodes of the original were really good. At the time, I was like, oh, this is cool. It's kind of gritty. Like, it's not really the ending you want, but it's the ending you get. It's not everything can be how you want it. So I'd have to go back and watch it. There was definitely a lot more fights, and I think a lot more side stuff like they did with shows then.
Yeah.
This is mostly like, here's an overarching story. It felt a little rushed, maybe. So if I were to go based on just memory, I almost would say this is almost better. Might not be a popular opinion, but I'd say this feels almost better.
Interesting.
On there. So, I mean, all in all, I'm trying to find what the original Trigun rating was.
Trigun
7. Anime, my anime list.
7.5.
8.22.
We closed.
8.22, 26 episodes. Ended in 98. Wasn't 98 ended? But, like, even these pictures, I know that villain's not in the show. There's a villain kind of like that in the show, and then that never happened in this show.
Yeah.
So,
interesting.
Pretty different on there. So, I don't know. Hopefully this will go on for eternity. Hey, speaking of eternity, hey, do your eternity.
Hey,
oh, this show sucks dick.
No, he doesn't mean that. He loves this show.
This show makes me feel stuff I don't want to feel.
This show made me cry.
You didn't cry?
And I needed some tissues.
You're telling me you
in March.
Tell me you didn't cry?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
March, I mean.
Oh, poor March. It just kills herself. I feel bad for laughing, but that's literally...
We don't want to skip to... Okay, so basically we get left off. Fushi's finding... Kohaku?
Kohaku,
yeah. and he gets taken back to his pebble form,
Mm-hmm.
basically. And all of his, like, I wouldn't say memories are gone, but it's like he's still attached to the cities, but he's not helping.
Yeah,
and
he can't feel or anything like that.
Also, we were both drastically wrong how we thought this was going to go.
Yeah.
None of us were guessing, Tasty Peach is just going to off him. Oh, we never knew Fushi was a rock.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Tasty Peach kills himself because that's the only way. It was kind of cool thing.
Do you have this weird duality while Bon is in the middle of killing himself and Echo is up on the roof about to try to kill herself too,
Yeah,
for a different reason.
Yeah.
It's messed up.
It's a whole thing because it's like...
Also, poor Echo. They don't. There were so many people dying in this episode. One of the ones where you're quickly growing attached to, you don't even get time to feel sad. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
like,
just on
she's
to the
fucking
next.
dead.
They Game of Thrones these episodes, man. It was just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
But Bon kills himself, and obviously Fushi wakes up, but he can still talk to Bon because he gets his spirit thing, and then Fushi learns in these episodes he can actually bring people back to life.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, I feel like that's Bon's only way of like, kill myself. You don't have to touch me. You don't have to feel any pain. You can see the spirits.
Yeah.
So you don't need what you needed before, where you had to feel a connection. As you move on, you can just see the spirit and go.
Mm-hmm.
And then Fushi just starts bringing people back to life.
Yeah. It refers to the immortal army.
Yeah, and they just keep bringing people back. And, it was kind of not this. The whole, I will say, stuff's emotional. It was great. Fushi technically gets to go back and see all of his friends. He brings everybody back to kind of their peak kind of state.
He doesn't get to do all of them because Kohaku's freaking knocker takes like the 5 or 6 of them away.
Yeah.
One of them being Panora, the archer. And like she's the main one. There are also a couple of the people from the island.
By the end of it, once he kills all the knockers, then he gets them back.
Well, Kohaku kills himself.
Yeah, he ends up killing himself in order to kill kind of the last knocker, which was weird because at the end he kills himself and you see a whole bunch of them come back. So that one specifically in him was responsible for a lot of the deaths of people he knew.
Yeah.
Which was kind of a weird thing. I'm like, so this one is known all this time, like those people there. Because he brings everybody. He brings back Marge, brings back Gugu. It was cool to see Gugu back, especially on there. It's like, it's been a while.
Yeah.
But then they hit you with everybody's safe. It's going to be happy. And immediately Fushi's like, I can't keep consciousness and spread, so I'm just going to have to basically disappear.
Yeah.
He doesn't disappear.
And I don't know how long it will take.
Yeah. So he goes into 100% unconscious state. Spreads everywhere throughout the whole world.
Vines, essentially.
Yeah. And then March just stops eating and just dies.
Well, no. So Tonari, the poison.
Yeah, sorry.
March chooses to kill herself.
Yeah.
And it's like, oof, this is a child that's making this decision.
She didn't want to do it without Fushi.
Yeah.
But to be fair, in her case, she knows nobody.
Mm-hmm.
She only knows Fushi. Everyone else she knows is dead.
Hey, just imagine when Fushi finally brings them all back. Because that is his promise. He will, when the world is safe and peaceful, he will bring them back. All back.
So it's like...
Imagine this, though. It's been thousands of years, but Gugu and his girlfriend finally get to live their life together. Because he'll have them back.
That was in a very... Yeah. But then they do this thing where Gugu's like, who was it? The bigger guy. I wrote his name down. I forgot. I have to look again.
It starts with a K.
Yeah, he's on here somewhere.
They both basically become watch guards.
Yeah, people. It seems like they're taking turns.
Or sorry, Cam.
Cam, yeah. He takes over watching, and then Gugu joins him, and they just practice. And I hate To Your Eternity because it makes you real happy that immediately hits you with this huge dread.
Yeah.
Same thing like episode 1. You're hit with, then it's this huge death.
Yeah. And especially like in the case where
everyone died happy too, though.
Yeah. Well, he's explaining what he has to do and the realization that comes over, especially his friends who have died by his side and have been there the entire time. Like March, Tonari, and Gugu, like the other three that are there, and Bon as a spirit are kind of off to the side, going, yeah, that's, makes sense. But his close friends, you see March like jump on top of him and be like, you can't do this, like, and like her reaction, and you're over there like, ooh, it is painful. Also, where he's like, yeah, Echo died, and it's like, why didn't you say anything? It's like you all were smiling, and it's like, oh
yeah, they just hit you with this. Well, that's where it started. Well, I like the ending because he resurrected Bon.
Yeah.
After he did all this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he'll get Bon back eventually.
Yeah.
So Bon dies as like technically still the like king's
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he dies happily. Then Tonari.
By the way, they do that thing where it's like they could have just showed him getting old or whatever. They took the time where it's like Fushi's root is like holding his hand, where it's like,
oh, Fushi.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, that's where I just started tearing up. I was like, well, then even do the thing where like he was never officially married to her, and she's like, oh, honey. And it's like, oh, fuck, they got married too, and they're dead. It's like, oh. That whole Fushi with the root thing, because he's there. He's there with everyone's death. Because even Tonari, he was still.
Yeah, she lives much longer and continues to write stories and helps spread the word that
Fushi's still,
the roots are good.
Yeah. Fushi was still there, still cared, and like was there when they all died too.
Yep.
And they do point out like everyone else that died, but they kind of did that. They kind of did one of our boys dirty, the blacksmith dude. He's like, oh, he died to the same disease as dad did. I'm like,
yeah,
don't do our boy dirty.
I mean, imagine Messar though, where it's like he had a lot of like love for drinking. Anyways, he fucking died because he drank too much. Yeah.
So Kai died the same disease as dad did. Rich died. I can't remember exactly how Rich died on there.
He was assassinated because he was preaching the root
stuff,
that's what he was assassinated.
Yeah, I mean, but they did.
Which is also messed up, where it's like some people are getting happy endings, and he's like, I lived for like 6 years and got stabbed.
Yeah, it just kind of pissed.
Also with Gugu, he gets horribly mangled, and that man dealt with enough, and then he chooses to kill himself as well.
Yeah, I feel like the other three don't care about themselves dying. So Fushi said he would resurrect us. So it's still like, because they hit you at the end of the whole season of modern world, cars, branches.
And that's the big thing where it's like, oh, we're in the 21st century.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he's still kind of dressed the same way, but he's like, everyone's more peaceful with the roots.
I
don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if I'll like how they do that. I felt like...
I was never... If episode 3 of To Your Eternity, or even like being the first volume in, if someone walked up and was like, yeah, it'd be cool if this was in the modern day, and you're like, not even being like, oh yeah, it will be in the modern day, just like, be interesting. It's like, no, like, let's keep it in the setting that it is.
You've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, right?
Yeah. You
know when they went to like Legend of Korra, like, I'm not saying I hate it because female lead, that's far from it. I just hated they added too much technology in it. It's like, oh, this doesn't.
Boruto.
Yeah, it's like
Bleach makes sense because it was still roughly the modern day.
Well, it started in the yeah, you're going to a completely different time kind of period on there, and I mean they might do a good job. I think the way they ended it was also like, we're in the modern world. I'm still very sad, but he finally like
Fushi had boba.
Yeah, well, he made himself into a person again, completely different place, and he's like, oh, then he mentions like somehow it's the world's safe and peaceful. It's like, oh, is he going to bring everybody back? But then you run that risk of, is he going to constantly bring people back when they die?
Yeah.
Which I feel like maybe he'll give up. Because Amanda Black said you eventually have to take over. Now we're in the 21st century. So I'm guessing when we...
Which means it's been like 3,000 years.
If I were to guess, I probably wouldn't say something like trebuchets and stuff. So I'm probably guessing like maybe like 1200s, maybe 1300s, and now we're in the 21st, maybe 700 years.
I think it's been way longer than that.
Has it? I mean, we'll have to read ahead. That's about all I got for this week.
Yeah.
People that don't know, we're going to Japan. watch Bonwee if you want to learn more about what we're doing there.
The trebuchet was invented in 1400 AD. So,
I was right.
I mean,
what? Henry knows his military technology?
oh, okay. Like, whatever.
Well, we also have explosive arrows too, so that gives you gunpowder.
Yeah.
Which that was originally Japan.
Oh, well,
I think
China.
What?
China.
Was it?
Gunpowder?
Oh no, I think it was, well, Chinese did fireworks, but the Japanese made it into gunpowder. Like what we know now, right? Oh, well, besides that, that's all I got for this week. If you want to know more about the Japan trip, watch Bonwee. We'll be back in about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I think it's when the next episode will probably come out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's if we get on time. I think next time we're just going to finish all of our shows in one big go. It's going to be big. It's going to be long. But then we can start into the next season show, so we don't have to play catch up with those.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, we're watching Kubo Won't Be Invisible next season.
Yeah, it's the last 6 episodes. So
yeah, but they're restarting it, though.
Around. Yeah.
I wonder what's going to happen in episode 2.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you guys for watching.
Bye.